Welcome to the Foundational Health Podcast, where we provide education and inspiration to help guide you on your journey to look better, feel better, and most importantly, heal better. Hello and welcome to the Foundational Health Podcast. I'm Dr. Kevin Schultz, and today we're going to talk about the importance of intention, which is pillar number 5 of foundational health. As always, we're going to look at this topic of intention through the lens of the 3 goals of foundational health, which are look better, feel better, and heal better. And really, when it comes to intention, what it allows you to do is incorporate every aspect of foundational health, the first 4 pillars that we discussed in the last 4 episodes. So the potential for looking better, the potential for feeling better and healing better is really limitless because you're incorporating all of those things from the first 4 pillars. So all of the pillars are important. In my opinion, the number 1, even though it's pillar number 5, number 1 most important is intention, because you can have all of the knowledge, the know-how for nutrition and motion and hydration and recovery, but if you don't have the proper intention, then all of that falls apart. So if you look at the definition of intention, the definition of intention is an aim or a plan. I personally don't like that definition, so I change it really simply from an aim or a plan to an aim and a plan, because it's not good enough to just have an aim if you don't have a game plan on how you're going to get there. So to me, that is what intention is all about. It's having the proper aim, that proper outlook on life, but then also having an action plan to go along with it. So as I was preparing for this podcast today, there's endless things that you can do out there to improve your intention, to improve your game plan, your aim. But what I decided to do was to talk about really the things that I have found to be the most beneficial in my life. And then hopefully you'll also find them to be as beneficial as I found them to be. So this comes from years of attending seminars. It comes from reading and listening to countless books and countless podcasts. I'm a huge fan of self-improvement type stuff, of leadership material. And so when something resonates with me, then I incorporate it into my life. And so that's what I plan to provide you with today. And I promise, like, these things that I'm going over isn't, as I talk about some personal things for me, it's not to say like I've got it all figured out. I'm an amazing husband all of the time, and I'm an amazing father all of the time, and I just do life the way that it's supposed to be done. None of that is true. I do it remarkably better, I feel, because of these things that I incorporate, but I'm certain if you ask Sarah if I'm an amazing husband 24/7, she is not going to give a resounding yes. So I have my faults just like everybody else. These things help me become a better person. The first thing that we're going to talk about is something that I was introduced to about 10 years ago. It's a really simple book that I highly recommend buying. The book was written by John Gordon and 2 other gentlemen. I don't remember their names. John Gordon, if you're not familiar with him, he's huge in the self-improvement world. He has 27 books that he's written, 13 of those bestsellers. And this one is very different from his other books, at least that I'm familiar with, in the sense that it is a very, very short read. You can read this book probably in an hour, but it is so powerful. So it's called One Word That Will Change Your Life. And here's the concept behind it and why I found it so powerful. Almost everybody knows that resolutions don't last for the majority of people, right? So you could look at all the research on, 95% or 98% of resolutions are gone by January or February for most people. But one word is, the idea is to have it be something that encompasses your entire life and it is lasting. So the idea behind this is you're picking one word to encompass your entire year, first of all. For instance, for me, this year is productivity. Last year, I had earn it. And the year before I had something different and something different. So each year is a different word. So let's think about this for a second. If I did a resolution and said that I want to work out more on a consistent basis, or I want to lose weight, I'm going to eat better this year, it's very myopic, whereas one word encompasses every single aspect of your life. So productive, I'm looking at my productivity in every area of my life. I want to become more productive in my workplace. I want to become more productive with my workouts. I want to become more productive with preparing for a podcast. So everything I do, I look at it through how can I become more productive. And then I also have, and I recommend, and I don't honestly remember if this is even talked about in the book, but I have my one word for life, and it just so happens to be intentional. So I believe strongly in intentional living, which is why pillar number 5 is intention. And that's my one word for life. So I highly recommend you buy that book, you read the book, and then you incorporate one word into your life. And I promise that can be life-changing. The second thing that we're going to talk about is something that is called the big why. So there is a little why and there's a big why. Nothing wrong with a little why. So if I use an example of a little why, my wife and I go to Mexico every year. We've done that for 15 consecutive years that we've been together. We do that during the winter months. And I am highly motivated to be in really good shape when I go to Mexico. Now, that's a little why. So for a lot of people, they get motivated to be in great shape and to lose weight for their upcoming daughter or son's wedding or a class reunion or a vacation. And then when that event is over, then their motivation, their inspiration is gone. So nothing wrong with it in the short term. And I'm a huge fan of those little whys because it's extra motivation and inspiration for me. But a big why is the polar opposite of that. A big why is life. So my big why as to why I make health my hobby, why I do all of the things that I do on a daily basis is because I want to live to 100 plus years of life, and I want to be not just living, but living life to its fullest, walking on a beach somewhere with my beautiful wife while playing with my great grandchildren, hopefully at that point. So I have this big picture of what I want life to look like. That is my big why. That's my driving force on a daily basis. So if you're going to incorporate and live out a one word, if you're going to incorporate and live out something like the big why, then you have to start feeding your mind with the right things. I'm not going to tell you what to watch. I'm not going to tell you what to listen to, but pay attention to and look at what are you watching? What are you listening to? Are they improving your life in any way? And I'm not suggesting that everything you do has to be something that's going to improve your life. We all need those things that just allow our brain to kind of shut down. I love watching movies just as much as anybody else. I love watching certain TV shows just as much as anybody else, as long as they aren't drama-filled. But look at what are you looking at? What are you listening to? What are you watching on a regular basis? And if you want to improve your nutrition, well, then you should probably start watching some documentaries on nutrition. You should probably start listening to some audiobooks or reading some books on nutrition. Find your favorite podcast that is health related. So look at what you're listening to, look at what you're watching, start feeding your mind, because if you don't feed your mind with the right things, then the odds of you having that aim and plan, that intention, the odds of that sticking are considerably less. So this is pretty old school, the next thing that we're going to talk about, but I'm still a huge fan of it. And that is a vision board. I and my entire family have a vision board at home. It's in our back sun porch. It's a cork board. I don't know the exact size, but it's big. It's like a 3-foot by 5-foot cork board. And on there we have pictures of places that we want to vacation. We know in 4 years we have this family trip planned to go to Italy to the place where all of my children, Caprice, Ava, and Teo, they're named after places in Italy that Sarah and I visited on our honeymoon. So we know we want to take that vacation, and we're working towards that vacation. We're saving money for that vacation. We know that our dream vehicle is having this luxury travel van someday. So this vision board is full of our favorite sayings, our favorite Bible verses, our favorite pictures of things that we want to accomplish or places that we want to go, what we want to look like, what we want our family to look like. So I'm a huge fan of a vision board. Helps keep us on track. You can have an actual vision board like we do, or I know a lot of people now create digital vision boards, and their home screen, for instance, on their computer is that digital vision board. So whatever works for you, if you incorporate that, that can make a huge difference in your life. The next one, this is the one that I wasn't sure like what route I wanted to take with this. And this is where I decided to incorporate a lot of personal things. So I do something called I call it Audible Affirmations every single day. So affirmations, especially for guys, often sound cheesy, right? And I think they sound more cheesy because of I've honestly never been a Saturday Night Live fan. Never really watched much of it at all, but I am familiar with Stuart Smalley, who made affirmations famous in a very cheesy way, to the point I think where most people think that they don't want to do them. So an affirmation does not have to look like Stuart Smalley standing in the mirror saying, I'm good enough, I'm great, whatever he does, I don't even know. But an affirmation for me is just affirming into my life things that I want to happen, things that I know I need to improve upon. So I'm going to walk through what that looks like for me. And the reason I call it Audible Affirmations is because I have this list of all of my favorite sayings, my favorite Bible verses, reminders for me of who I want to be as a person, who I want to be as a dad, who I want to be as a husband. And then I add to this list. If I'm reading a book and something strikes me, I'm like, ooh, that's great. I'm going to add, and I keep it in my Google Keep Notes. So whatever app you use that works for you, or just in an email, whatever it is, I have this list that I'm adding to all the time. And then I would say probably about every 6 months, I update my Audible version of that list. So for me, what that looks like is I take my cell phone and I literally record myself reading through that list. Currently, it's like 6.5 minutes long. And then I have that Audible file in my Google Calendar. And every single day at 5:30 a.m., that Google Calendar sends an email to my email inbox, and it has that Audible file in it. So every day on my way driving to work, or if I'm not at work, I do it at home, I listen to my 6.5 minutes of my Audible affirmation. I do this sometimes while I'm stretching, I do it while I'm driving, but I get that in almost every single day, and it's crazy how it changes my mindset and sets my intention for the day. So I'm going to walk through some of these Audible affirmations. So first of all, I always start it with my word for the year and my word for life. And then I have a section of remember who you are. For me, that remember who you are is I'm a man of God. I'm a leader of leaders. I'm a dad who enjoys quality time with my beautiful wife and amazing children. I lead by example. I don't fret the little things in life because I focus on the big picture. So those things might not resonate with you. Those might be huge. They literally make my skin tingle. They make me feel alive because those things are hugely important for me. And so I'm sharing them with you because the hope is that some of these will resonate with you, that they will inspire you to be a better person, to do the things that you want to do, to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish in your life. The next section is what I call the 5 steps to be the best dad ever. Number 1, guide Caprice, Ava, Teo toward a relationship with God and Jesus. Number 2, always show respect and love for Sarah and teach my children how to respect and love her. Number 3, use patience and love as the motivation for discipline for my children. I'm going to stop with that one for a second. This one is actually huge for me. And Colton, I don't think Colton, who's behind the camera here, doing all the hard work, probably doesn't realize this, but his grandma Mary is actually the one that turned me on to this. So it's this book called Love and Logic. And Love and Logic was one of the best parenting books that I ever read. So Love and Logic, if I really simplify it, and this was the part that stood out to me, is the majority of parents, and this is where I found myself being a new parent, is I was most of the time disciplining my children out of anger. So I was disciplining them out of anger, and just like it made no sense. I would get angry and I'd blow up instead of coming from a place of patience and love. And I constantly, daily, in my Audible Affirmations, remind myself to parent out of motivation, patience, and love. And when I do that, it's crazy how that changes my relationship with my kids. And it's why I have this named How to Be the Best Dad Ever, because they say that to me on a regular basis. I'm sure a lot of kids say that to their parents, though. Number 4, spend quality time with my whole family and each of them individually. Number 5, show my family my affection with hugs, kisses, and words. Next thing, this one, my good friend David Erb and his wife Kimberly Erb, fantastic people. They have an amazing podcast, so much great information out there. My wife and I went to one of their seminars down in Texas, and we learned something that they started doing with their kids, and they called it the Erb Kid Code of Conduct. So ours is the Schultz Kid Code of Conduct, and it's something that my kids know very well. They know that if I would say to them, in fact, we did a little practice run through last night, I said, "Who are you, Caprice?" And she instantly rattled off, "I'm a leader, I'm a protector, I'm a child of God." I did it with each one of them separately, and they all 3 nailed it. So here is our Schultz Kid Code of Conduct. As a Schultz kid, I am a leader who chooses to show respect for myself, my parents, and others. I always work hard, I give 100%, and I never give up. I choose to allow God and Jesus to live in my heart. I choose to protect those who need protecting. I know that my mom, dad, God, and Jesus will always love me no matter what. So again, that might not resonate with you, but hopefully there's something in there that you can at least incorporate into your parenting technique and become a more intentional parent on a daily basis. The next section I call words of wisdom. And these words of wisdom, really, they're just sayings, phrases, things that I have really resonated with me as I've read books or been at seminars. Number 1, I let my order control the chaos. I do not let the chaos control my order. Number 2, I see my dreams with crystal clarity and I'm worthy of having all my dreams come true. Number 3, this one is probably my favorite. The pain of my discipline is far less than the pain of my regret and disappointment. This can apply to so many areas of your life, but this is something that I literally think about on a daily basis. Do I want to go through that workout? Do I want to do the hard things that I know I should do? Yes, because I know the pain of that discipline is going to be far less than the pain of regret and disappointment if I don't do those things. Number 4, I speak from my heart and people listen. This one comes from my internal voice that constantly says, "Who wants to listen to you talk on a podcast, Kevin? Who wants to come to your workshop? Nobody cares what you have to say." So that's my internal voice, my internal dialogue, which I think so many people have. So part of my affirmation is I speak from my heart and people listen. I control my own destiny. Failure hates persistence. Success is simple habits performed daily over time, which you've heard me say if you've listened to any of my podcasts in the past. Number 8, sometimes life feels like it's burying you, but you're actually being planted. And then I end every one with my 4 favorite Bible verses. And then I finish it with the best is yet to come, because I fully believe the best is yet to come. Last thing that we're going to talk about today, this was a really important lesson that I learned from one of my mentors, Dr. Ben Lerner. And what Dr. Ben, I don't know the actual name of this. I know what I call it. I call it my circle of an intentional life, or just the circle of life, but it's different than the regular circle of life, obviously. So I want you to imagine, close your eyes if you're not driving, if you're not running, doing something where it's dangerous. So imagine a dot, and then around that dot, by the way, is you. Around that dot, you have a small circle. That small circle is your friends, your family, your coworkers. Around that circle is a little bit bigger circle, which is your neighborhood. Around that circle is a little bit bigger circle, which is your town. A bigger circle yet, which is your state. A bigger circle, which is the country. And another bigger circle, which is the world. So the way that works for most people is the opposite of how it should work. So the way that it works is we allow the world news, which we poison our minds with, in my opinion, every morning when we first wake up for the majority of people, or last thing that you fill your head with when you go to bed at night, is that negative news from around the world. We allow that to influence our country because so many people are listening to it. And then that influences our state and influences our town, and all of the negativity surrounding us on a daily basis, the work drama, the drama in your town, the negative news from your local news, all of that influences you, and it makes you who you are. And as a result, that's who you become to the world, where it's supposed to work the polar opposite. You are supposed to be an influencer of the world. You controlling yourself, not allowing yourself to be influenced by all the negativity around you. You're a leader, as I talk about all of the time. You lead by example for whatever it is in your life, whether it's being a better Christian and showing those people around you what it looks like to be a better Christian, whether it is being healthier, which is my goal in life, one of my goals in life, to lead by example so that you then are an influence on your friends and your family, your neighborhood, your town, your state, and the world. That had a huge impact on my life, and that is how I try to live my life on a daily basis, and why my word for life is intentional. Takeaways for today. The inspirational and educational takeaways, as always: success equals simple habits performed daily over time. Buy the book One Word, incorporate that into your life. As I talked about in the last podcast, focus on results, not reasons why you can't achieve those results, because those reasons, if you're being honest with yourself, are excuses. And remember that you are always a leader. Your kids are watching you, your coworkers are watching you, your friends and family are watching you. Lead by example. Until next time, make health your hobby. Thank you for listening to the Foundational Health Podcast. As always, if you would like to learn more about making health your hobby, visit our website at foundationalhealth365.com and follow me on Facebook at Kevin Schultz DC Foundational Health.